In a quiet monastery nestled in the heart of the mountains, Master Hiro was known for his strict discipline and profound wisdom. Among his many students, there was a young novice named Taro, whose restless spirit often led him to question the rules. Though bright and eager, Taro struggled to understand why the teachings demanded such unwavering obedience. One evening, as the first snowfall of winter blanketed the monastery, Master Hiro summoned Taro. "Taro," the master said, handing him an old lantern. "Take this and walk to the temple on the other side of the forest. Deliver this lantern to the caretaker. Do not let it go out, no matter what happens." Taro was puzzled but nodded, taking the lantern. The journey seemed simple enough, but the master's stern expression warned him otherwise. As Taro stepped into the forest, the wind howled through the trees, tugging at his robes and threatening the flame in the lantern. He shielded it with his hand, muttering under his breath, "Why is this so important? Why must I go now?" In the dead of night, the path grew darker and shadows danced ominously among the trees. Doubts noted Taro. What could possibly happen if the flame went out? Surely, it's not so important to be this cautious. Yet he remembered Master Hiro's words and pressed on, shielding the flame with both hands. Suddenly, a rustling sound emerged from the underbrush. A fox darted across the path, startling Taro, and he stumbled. The lantern swayed dangerously, and the flame flickered. His heart raced as he steadied himself. "I should have stayed back," Taro grumbled. But again he tightened his grip and moved forward. Hours passed, or so it seemed, before he finally saw the faint glow of the temple ahead. Exhausted, he knocked on the caretaker's door. The old man opened it, his face lighting up at the sight of the lantern. "You've done well, young one," the caretaker said, taking the lantern with care. Taro frowned, unable to contain his curiosity any longer. "Master Hiro insisted this lantern reach you. Why is it so important? It's just an old lamp." The caretaker chuckled softly. "The lamp itself isn't important. It's the flame you carried." Taro looked confused, but before the caretaker could explain further, the sound of footsteps approached. Master Hiro emerged from the shadows, his expression calm but serious. "Taro," the master said, "do you think I sent you on this journey for the sake of the lantern?" Taro hesitated. I don't understand, Master. The flame represents discipline, Taro." Master Hiro said, his voice steady. "Without obedience, discipline falters, and without discipline, the light within you dims. You carried this flame despite your doubts, despite your fear. Obedience isn't blind submission, it's trust in the path laid before you, even when the purpose isn't clear." But Taro lowered his gaze, ashamed of his earlier grumbling. "But what if the flame had gone out?" he asked. Master Hiro smiled. "Then you would have learned the weight of responsibility. Every moment tests us, not for punishment, but for growth. To obey is to honor the wisdom of those who guide you, just as you honored my words tonight." In that moment, Taro felt a shift within him. Obedience was no longer a burden, but a practice of trust and self-discipline. From then on, Taro approached the teachings with a newfound reverence. He understood that obedience was not about blind compliance, but about nurturing the inner flame that guided him toward enlightenment. The lesson of the lantern stayed with him, a quiet reminder that even the smallest acts of trust and discipline could illuminate the darkest paths.